Okay. In 2008, in Chatsworth, California, a Metrolink engineer, instead of conducting his Metrolink like he was supposed to, he was sending a text message. And because of this text message, he ran a stop signal, and the Metrolink that he was supposed to be conducting collided with the Union Pacific freight train. And because of this, 25 people died and 135 people were injured. My main claim is that technology has a negative effect on our society's interactive behavior. My first supporting claim is that personal communication technology, and what I mean by that is things like cell phones, laptops, MP3 players, they tend to distract humans from their objectives. It keeps humans from doing what they're supposed to, and it can be little things such as instead of cleaning around the house, you're checking your email, you're listening to your iPod, Facebook, and it can also be big things such as the Metrolink accident. According to the LA Times, a study finds that accidents involving pedestrians wearing the devices have tripled in recent years. There have been cases where there's people like walking the street and they have their iPod on and stuff, and because of this, they don't hear sirens or they don't hear oncoming vehicles, and accidents happen. And according to the LA Times, an estimated 16,000 people in the United States have died in accidents caused by drivers sending text messages while driving between 2001 and 2007, according to the federal data. And that's why the law of no texting while driving and no handheld devices has passed a couple years ago, because of all these accidents that have been going on. My second supporting claim is that personal communication technology can disrupt educational activities. Students tend to use technology to cheat. According to the USA Today, from digitally inserting answers into soft drink labels to texting each other test answers and photos of exams, kids are finding new ways to get ahead when they haven't studied. And there was a story on Pellet Online on how some seniors at Bishop Sullivan High School, they used their cell phones to text each other and email the answers for a test, and it was during the last weeks of school, so they got punished for that. And they took a survey on that right after, and the survey conducted that 1,000 middle and high schoolers have found that 83% have cell phones, and amongst that group of students, more than 1/3 of them admitted to using them to cheat in school. And not only that, but students also rely on technology to do simple tasks. We're finding that like humans rely on simple tasks such as like before how we used to calculate for your bank statements or whatever. You could do these things in your head and you would practice your mathematical skills. And now we rely on just calculators like, oh, okay, just get the calculator. And also for navigational devices, instead of looking up your own map and practicing how to get there, learning the streets, we just tend to put on the address on the GPS and just get there. And I think there was a case where this woman, she put the direction on the GPS, and the GPS led her off of a hill, and she passed away because of that. My third supporting claim is technology separates us from human nature. It keeps humans from face-to-face contact with other humans, and we're losing our social skills because of that. Now, instead of meeting up with somebody, you'll just text them, or you'll web chat them, or email them. And there have been studies where they do see that people lose their social skills, and it also self-destructs humans. According to the Harvard Business Review, at the extreme, we behave like machines. Technology makes us greedy, unhappy, impatient, and insensitive, and full of hubris. We see that now, since we do have everything at our fingertips because of the internet and stuff, we don't go to the library anymore. We get impatient when we do have to go to the library, and we do get greedy and impatient, and humans are becoming more addicted to these forms of media through technology. And that's why I believe that technology does have a negative effect on our society's interactive behavior. Thank you.
All right, well, I like the example that you used to get our attention, and then you transition very clearly to your proposition. I do think the proposition is a little bit broad. Now, later on you try and define it as if it is focusing on personal communication data, but in other places you're talking about things like GPSs and calculators, so I'm not sure that you've narrowed down the subject enough. There's not any denial that sometimes technology gets misused or that it can be exploited to create a harm or that people use it in the incorrect way, but one of the first arguments that people are going to say is on the other side that there are all these benefits that were coming, and so you're going to have to show, for instance, almost an on-balance argument. I'm not sure you can do that, which is why I think you need to have a little bit narrower claim for your proposition. There's no layout of what the secondary structure is going to be, although internally I thought you did a nice job signposting points as you got to them. And I thought you did you had the right idea trying to focus on personal communication devices like cell phones or iPods or those types of things, but it was a little bit inconsistent in your support later on that that's in fact what you're focusing on. So I think that that's something that needs to be clarified in the proposition. On the supporting information, there were a couple places where I thought there was some good examples and statistics. When you talked about the cheating experience, you cited a pretty particular case there. You also had a statistic that followed up that talked about the percentage of students who own cell phones and the percentage of those who own cell phones who use them to cheat some way. So I thought that you had some data on that point. On the other hand, after that first example that you had, which was pretty dramatic and detailed, later on you're talking about some woman who's so reliant on her GPS that she drives off a cliff, but you sound uncertain as to whether that's a real example. A woman, I don't know, somewhere, this kind of thing may have happened, and I didn't think that that's a good way to present that argument. It makes it sound like you are just passing on a rumor instead of something that is grounded in reality, and that's a little problematic. I did think that the statistic about the fact about the 16,000 deaths in that 6 or 7 year period was pretty impressive. Don't forget to give us the more complete citation on that. I think it was the Department of Transportation, but I'm not sure. I thought you did a good job from the beginning trying to talk to the audience, and your voice conveyed good attitude toward the subject. I do think that you're making some pretty big inferences here. There's probably not much dispute that texting while driving is problematic, but your whole argument about it being a problem for people's social skills, for instance, the closest you come to having any proof on that is a conclusionary statement from the New York Times. You say at one point, well, there have been studies, but you never cite any of those studies. You don't tell us what those studies concluded. We get this one conclusionary statement that seems to be covering a whole lot of territory, and I'm not sure that that helps very much. That would be maybe a good transition piece of information to use, and then follow up with explanations of what those arguments are. All right. Thank you.